Chair of the Charter Board, Mr. Leonard Collins, and the Vice Chair, Ms. Camilla Way, excuse me. Pardon me. Well, there is a Kimberly, right, Hayes? So, Mr. Collins, would you like to begin?
Yes. Commissioners, thank you very much for inviting us to come speak to you. For viewers who are unaware of what the Charter Board is, it's a creature of the Maryland Constitution, and one of the ways that a board comes into being is by action of the local officials. And here, our county commissioners created a board, and the Maryland Constitution requires that the board be 5, 7, or 9, and the commissioners decided on 9. So there are 9 of us plus alternates. And it's our task to write a new form of government for Charles County. The Maryland Constitution allows us 18 months to complete that, and our proposal will be on the ballot in November of 2014 for the voters to approve or disapprove. The Constitution requires that we submit the proposal for publication by the commissioners at least 90 days and no more than 120 days before it goes to election. So that means that we've been advised we should submit our proposal to the commissioners for publication, I believe, no earlier than the 7th of July and no later than the first week in August. And by doing that, we can have the greatest turnout of voters in the general election of 2014, where the voters will be voting for governor, delegates, county commissioners. Currently, where we are now is we have had at least 2 meetings a month since March, and we've listened to many current and former government officials regarding their suggestions on how the government can be improved. And among the people that we've invited and heard from are current county commissioners, current president of the county commission, as well as past presidents of our county commissions, members of our state delegation, former county administrator. We've had county executive from outside our county, former council presidents from Prince George's, and council members from Cecil County, which recently went to charter. Additionally, we've had Vincent Tervala, who is formerly with the University of Maryland, and he has participated and assisted 7 other charter boards in writing their charters, and he has provided us with insights on how to proceed. Some of the subjects that we have addressed include: should we have a county executive? Should we have term limits? How many council people should we have on the council? Should we have voting of council members at large, by district, or some combination thereof? What checks and balances should we have in place? And should we have taxing, spending, or borrowing limits? These are some of the subjects that we've discussed. While we may call on more experts or officials as we proceed, at this point we have been writing a rough draft of the charter, and it is on the county website when you go down to the charter board section. We agreed last fall that we would have a rough draft finished on or before April 1st of this year, and we are on target to do that. When we have a rough draft, and the rough draft will be out there for the public to see, one of the things that we learned from Mr. Tervala was not to lock ourselves in on any given issue. So our rough draft is a suggestion of where we may be going. When our rough draft is finished, we intend to have public forums where we and the public exchange our viewpoints. We will explain to the public how we have reached a decision with regard to one issue or another, and we can hear their viewpoints on whether or not we are hitting the mark or not.
And if I can add.
Sure.
And if I can add, our rough draft is added after each and every meeting that we have for the public to stay abreast on the edits and the changes that we make.
Thank you.
And that's about where we are. I think that I asked everyone on the board if I could say that we all had a general feeling that we're in a good place at this point, and it was the consensus of the board that we feel like we're in a good place.
Well, thank you, Mr. Collins, and thank you to those of you who've come today. Just by way of a little bit of background, and I think this will be helpful for our citizens as well, some of what you may have been experiencing in the way of a little bit of confusion is that when this board worked on this originally in December of 2011, and if you go back and you look at the minutes and watch the video, there were some different understandings. It wasn't until March of 2012, and that's when Mrs. Holtz brought back to us the changes that reflect exactly, as I've come to realize, is what you repeat pretty much every single meeting, Mr. Collins. This is where we're coming from. This is what we're doing. Early on in the process, Commissioner Davis, that would have been in December of 2000, and well, I get my years mixed up, but at that 2000 meeting, 2012, I guess, 2012, December 4th, Commissioner Davis had even gone so far as to say that we wanted a process set up and everything, you know, in advance. So it's really good to hear, number one, it's good for us to understand, and those who are watching, that the independence in which you are operating is exactly what you're supposed to be doing pursuant to the law, that it is not going to come back to the commissioners other than in terms of the administrative piece of putting it, you know, passing it on. This is something that you're handling. And then the last thing is, there was some confusion about, were you going to get the input before the draft or after the draft? And it's really great to hear that you're working on the draft and that you'll have something very specific to take out and work with folks on. So, you know, I wanted to make sure that you understood sort of a little bit of the information that we were operating under, and to thank you because every other week you all have really been working hard. And
attendance has been very good. And with regard to when to start having the public hearings, we discuss and sometimes disagree, but we reached a consensus that it would be better for us to have something out there for the public to look at, so that they, rather than, as one of the members said, it's easier for the public to respond if we say, what do you think of that car, as opposed to what do you think of a new car?
Right.
So
it's realistic. It gives people realistic.
So they'll be able to see what we've come up with, and they can focus in on anything that they feel is particularly worthy or unworthy of a new government.
Well, as a board, we know what that feels like. So there's always somebody who may or may not like exactly how you're doing things, but there's no question you're doing everything according to the law, the way it should be done, and we appreciate the leadership that you've exhibited. Anyone else? Commissioner Robinson and then Commissioner Davis, did you have something?
First of all, thank you for agreeing to the television, the live broadcast, because I think as we get closer, more people will become interested in the work that you're doing. In addition, I think more people will become aware that, as Ms. Way stated, every time you come out of a meeting, you update where you're at on the draft on the website. I don't think very many people are aware that the draft exists on the website, so I think even having this meeting will help promote that, as well as your schedule for public hearings. Obviously, it's my hope and assumption that once you go through the public hearing process, that you will be flexible enough to really take into account what the public says. If there's any one particular issue that you suddenly realize people are either seriously for or seriously against, that you will look at amending the draft before it reaches the ballot in November.
And we've consciously thought about that, and we just recently agreed upon a survey that affords the community opportunities to clearly on a Survey Monkey and offer the opinions on the key issues that are major components of the draft.
Ms. Way, and I'll be right with you, Commissioner Davis. I'm on the website. I see the Survey Monkey. Where, because people are watching, where will they find the draft charter?
Main page.
I'm on the main page of our website.
Right. If you click on Charter Board, scroll down.
I'm on Charter Board.
Well, hold on, I've got to get there.
And I'm scrolling, I'm on the page that says Charter Board. I'm scrolling down. I see an email address. I see the Survey Monkey. And then I see dates. So
We don't have the advantage of having.
I
it
know
right in
you
front of
don't.
us.
And so we're going to ask maybe if somebody could help us, so before we finish, we can let the public know.
Well, and actually, Commissioner Kelly, I think it would be probably at this point in time, as we're getting closer, maybe we should have a really big banner on the main page of our website that will lead citizens to the draft charter as it
Right.
exists to that point. And
I
Ms.
would agree.
Ferguson has something to say.
They're under, you've got several categories: agendas, minutes, notices, videos, staff reports, and there's 3 dates. It tells the draft charter for November 7th, October 24th, October 10th.
That would be digging a little. That's at the bottom, so I would agree. Let's try to get that in a more prominent place.
We can, in our office, adjust these categories, maybe move that to the top of that page.
I think as Commissioner Robinson suggested, what's everybody else think? This should be on the main page of our website. This is important. Does everyone in agree?
The link that'll take them to the page that.
Yeah, we can
Ms.
link, we
Right.
can do that, too.
Great, thank you. And I'm sorry, Commissioner Davis?
No, I just wanted to thank you. I just wanted to thank you for your work. I know, this is volunteer. I'd love to see people get involved, and I love the fact that, you're using your time, your free time, you could be doing anything else, to help us move forward with this. I didn't know that the rough draft was updated. That's a brilliant idea, to have it updated as you go along, so people can see the process as it takes place. So, thanks again.
Well, luckily, the county support staff updates it, so.
Absolutely.
So we've gotten a lot of support from the county support staff.
Great.
Okay, video, secretarial, legal.
Very good.
It's all been good.
Well, that's great, and that's great to hear, and thank you for pointing that out.
And now you'll all be live on TV, so you probably get recognized in Safeway.
Kimberly's back there like, really? I didn't sign up for that.
Okay.
And can I just add one last thing?
Sure.
One thing we've been trying to communicate to the community is that it is a drafting of our Constitution. Hearing the word charter brings a different tone or connotation to the word. So it's a rewrite of our Constitution. So if we can all kind of champion that lingo and that language.
Well, and I think as you go out to the public hearings, or public forums, if you will, our citizens are going to be probably very pleased to understand that they are finally going to have a say in so many of these important issues. For example, the budgetary issues. How much can we borrow? If you all decide to put limitations of that nature into this document. I mean, this is an all-encompassing document, and so it's going to be, it's a great opportunity to educate the public and engage them. So,
Thank you.
would any of the other members like to say anything? Okay. Well, thank you so much. And any commissioners, anything else?
Thank you.
All righty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And next we have